And then I'm going to start building my composite. And again, we build from lingual to labial. So what am I going to put on the lingual wall? The lingual wall really is about stopping the light. So for me, I'm thinking, how much light reflection do I need? If the adjacent natural tooth is highly reflective, it's very high value, it's a bright tooth, then I may be thinking about using my most opaque material, and that would be my bleach shades, my XBW or my BW shades. If I need moderate opacity and I need chroma, so I'm matching a tooth that's maybe more in the A3 range, then I'm probably going to pick up just my opaque shade and use it for my lingual. There are times when I use both. So I have a tooth where I need chroma because it's an older person and they have a tooth that is an A3 or an A3.5, but yet the tooth is very dense. It's very light reflective. There's not much translucency. I may actually put a little of the bleach shade as the furthest, the lingual wall, and then on top of it put a little bit of my opaque shade. You know, this lingual wall can range in thickness. Probably about 0.5 millimeter is about all you want as you approach the incisal edge or the thinner part of the tooth. You know, you can get up to 0.75 millimeter as you get to the middle or the body of a tooth. And again, thinking about my aesthetics, if I'm doing a very, very youthful tooth and the person has a really beautiful 1 or 2 millimeter translucence in their incisal edge, I may actually use my bleach and opaque shade from the fracture line to within 1.5 millimeters of the incisal edge, and then actually use a true enamel shade like my JE, my juvenile enamel, or my AE as the lingual side of the actual incisal edge. So I really have to be looking at the aesthetics of the adjacent tooth. How am I going to do this? I actually put the composite in the silicone matrix outside the mouth in my hand. Tooth has been etched, I've applied my chlorhexidine or my desensitizer, and then I'm going to apply my dentin adhesive, thin it, light cure it. Then I'm going to take the matrix that has the composite, I've put the composite in it, in my hand outside the mouth, and now seat the matrix against the tooth, and now I'm going to light cure this layer. At this point, if you actually want to take the matrix out, you can, because you could now layer the rest of the composite against the cured lingual layer. Or I often leave the matrix in because it basically also helps keep the patient's tongue away from here if I'm doing it just like I am here with an Optrogate. So then I'm going to start layering in the body of the restoration. And these are really where I'm going to go to my Dentin shades. If I'm trying to create chroma gradient, I may use more than one Dentin shade. So if I want a tooth that's A2 in the body of the middle of the tooth, but A3 at the gingival, and I don't have lots of good chroma from the prep, I may actually put a very thin layer of the A3 just in that gingival portion of the prep, and then A2 above it, even down to some A1 right as I approach the incisal edge. And you can see here in the photograph I've stopped short of the incisal 2 millimeters of the tooth, and I've actually created sort of a jagged, erratic edge to that dentin because that's going to replicate the lobes of the dentin that I can visualize in the adjacent tooth next to it. Also, those dentin layers need to mirror the shape of the dentin. So those dentin layers are in a curved form, are getting thinner and thinner as I approach the incisal of the tooth. And I'm also leaving only about 0.5 millimeter maximum for the labial layer of the enamel. If I'm going to do characterization like decalcification, or I wanted to add some stains into this is where I would do it right now, is between the cured dentin layers, these have been cured, and the final enamel layer. Notice that I haven't done the interproximals. Interproximals are done typically with an enamel shade of composite, and I'm going to do that after I remove the matrix so that I can also put in interproximal matrices and I can isolate that and create contacts. So all of this is being done leaving the interproximals open, and then I'm going to come back and do those sort of at a second stage.